Thank you for joining us today for My Harlem Portraits. These are the first steps of a new project. It's a series of interviews and conversations with famous and less known politicians, civil rights activists, artists, performers, athletes, but also with ordinary people who are doing extraordinary things every day, giving back to their community, to their village, and they do it humbly, working behind the scene without making any noise. I meet these people every single day in Harlem, and I want to tell their stories, because their story is a story of faith, endurance, and resilience. It's a story of the influence of Black culture and excellence in America and in the world. In fact, the objective of this show is to shed a light on Black excellence in all its forms, including the hidden figures in science, in business, in economics, and open up a new perspective from which we can revisit, reconsider some of the so-called historical facts as they've been taught to us. This is the purpose of Harlem Portraits. And we are here with one of the beacons of this excellence in culture, the beautiful and great Irene Gandy. Irene has been the first Black Broadway producer, and she's the only Black female member of ATPAM, which is the Association of Theatrical Press Agents and Managers on Broadway. She works with Jeffrey Richards Associates.
Yes.
Irene is a good friend.
Good friend.
She has made my coming to Harlem very welcome. She's one of the first people I met, and she welcomed me from the very beginning. So I thank you for what you've been doing for me and how much you've been helping.
Well, I thank you also, too, Maria. I just want to correct, I don't want anybody yelling at you. I am the first African-American producer to get a female to get a Tony Award that I wasn't singing or dancing. Nothing wrong with singing and dancing. I would have gotten it if I could sing and dance. So I totally beat it to suit. But no, I congratulate you, and I love you because you are keeping the arts and culture alive. You know, you come out and you came here to the community, and you didn't just come because you really care, and I appreciate you for that.
She co-produced with Vosa River, who is the founder of a new heritage theater group, the national tour of the South African musical Serafina.
Yes.
Tell me about that experience.
That was a great experience. It was great, and as you know, most of the Lion King stage productions came from the members of Serafina.
Yeah.
It was a great time, but it was also a very interesting, because at the same time we went on these tours, and one of the cities was Boston, and there was some controversy in Boston because this man had said an African American had killed his pregnant wife, and we were there in the heat of that.
Oh my God!
And of course, it came
Where
out
was
later.
this?
Boston.
When?
This was in early 1970s.
Oh wow!
Late 70s, 80s, and we were there, and you know we had to keep the kids safe because they didn't know they're from South Africa, and finally, what happened is that he confessed, and we got a lot of money because the show wasn't selling. So out of that tragedy came success. And also, when we did it in L.A., it was really wonderful in L.A. because all the African American stars came out to support, and the kids, they were 16 to 21, and just going on the road with a show like that, it was really new for me because I've always been on the road with Bob Fosse's shows and stuff. So it was like really nice. Yeah.
And being in South Africa with that kind of show, must have been an experience.
I guess I wasn't in South Africa. I only did it in New York, but learning from the cast members and from the creative people. It was really a great experience.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Recently, just to tell you the little things that Irene has been doing, recently she has been in the production of American Son, that is starring Karen Washington, that I saw, and it's fantastic. It was amazing. China Doll, starring Al Pacino, Fiddler on the Roof, You Can Take It With You, both starring James Earl Jones, and Sylvia, starring Matthew Broderick.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about each one of these shows.
Well, you know, the thing is, I've been doing this 50 years now, and each show is different. And if you're doing it a long time, you automatically, you know, your actors they're familiar with you.
Yes.
And working with Jeffrey Richards, which I'm grateful for, because he's a producer and he produces, and I get to work, do the PR and the community outreach. I think the most important thing for me on my African American shows, which are few and far between, like American Son and like Porgy and Bess, those shows, and like A Lady Day with Audrey again about Billie Holiday, I want to make sure, in addition to being the producer, that the African American community knows about it. Because, you know, there's a big thing about African Americans not buying tickets, delayed, but you know, we have to, not we, me, or whoever, I try to make sure that the information is timely. You know, if you can't come in and know about something, and you have to know about it. And also, you know, I'm very big about, you know, African American community cannot save theater. You know, I mean, that white community cannot save theater, because theater is specialized things, but at least people know about it. So I try to like really get up in the mix and try to get other people. And being on Harlem Week board member with Lloyd and Lloyd Williams and Rosa Rivers, I'm able to have that dragnet, you know.
Yes,
Because I think that we're at a time, I started in '68, and it was so nice to see your former guest, Count Stovall. You know, we started in 1968, like that. And so, you know, there was like, it was so selective. But now, you know, the kids, my daughter and my nieces, they can see Lion King, they can go see Tootsie, they can go see Dear Evan Hansen. They didn't grow up in, you have to, that's the only thing you can see. And also the churches are taking over as well. You know,
Yes.
you know, you have to, so you have to be, every show I come in, everything I do is always the first time, you know. So it's always exciting to see, you know,
what's going on.
Well, if I try to work on shows that speak their truth, but that's how I try to do it. But you know, if I believe in something, I work on it, and if I don't believe in, I think about a pair of new Chanel earrings and some shoes. That's a new Louis Vuitton bag. And I make myself. I believe, you know.
Well, you can afford to do that, and that's very important.
Yeah.
And what is also fundamental is that in the way you're working with theater, it makes it also more affordable. The fact that it's advertised, that there are possibilities of buying group tickets and so on and so on.
I always have a code, because the non-white people, the white people, I'm just saying white people, there's a whole history. Everyone gets a group sales mailer. There's a lot of ways to get tickets, half price tickets, but we don't have privy to it. You know, I'm saying, and you know, there's like theater development fund. They have ways you can send your kids.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a lot of ways, but unless you're sitting at the table, you won't know it. And so there's a lot of us that sit at the table and don't do anything about it. But that's not me, you know.
That is fantastic.
That will never be me. It never has been.
That is absolutely fantastic, and that's one of the reasons why we love you, because you do so many great things. So tell me, what has been what made you take the path of theater in the beginning?
Well, I'm going to tell you something. It really was not my choice. You know, I have a daughter, as you know, Myra.
Who is
in
wonderful,
1968,
wonderful artist.
Douglas Turner Ward, who's founded the Negro Ensemble
Yes.
Company, wrote a article in the New York Times that he wanted to have a resident theater, like which would train, actors, press agents, anybody behind the scenes, but you have to be in a union, and you can't be in a union. It's like catch-22. So
if you're not working.
And then I ran into one of my friends who's now deceased, Fred Garrett. I graduated from high school, and they had everyone coming up that wanted to do. Everybody had head, but nobody wanted to be a press agent. I didn't even know what a press agent was, but I thought Myra was like 2.5 at the time, so I thought it would get me away from.
Acting and...
No, I took one acting class and then I was in a movie. But it got me away from, changing the diapers and changing and whatever. So I went up for the interview, and I'm still doing the same thing I'm doing for 50 years ago. It's not like I work my way up. I'm still trying to get you to interview people, worried about it, setting them up interviews. So it was just like being at the right place at the right time. I didn't know what it was, because for me, I still don't know what it is. It's a dressed-up flunkey's job. Politics, press agentry, and prostitution. The 3 Ps, they're all the same. You can dress them up, but that's it. And I've always had that attitude. That it's like a governess. You may run the house, but it's not yours.
Not
and you're dealing with
that's
people
right.
and people and emotions. So.
Tell us some of the most remarkable moments in your career.
I can tell you. Matter of fact, I'm wearing one of my most remarkable moments. This bracelet.
And that is beautiful bracelet. We talked about that before.
Late Lena Horne. When she was on Broadway, the Lady in Her Music, she was at the Needleland Theater, and at the time she opened, Broadway was not so Disney. It had like the prostitutes and every.
Oh yes. When I first arrived in New York, it was still the red light district.
So everybody was like, what are we gonna do? And so Lena said, let's meet with them, because she's from that old school. So that was exciting. We met with the prostitutes, and she said, I'm not about y'all not making any money, and they said, I'm not about you not making any money, but let's come to a compromise. All bets are off after 11 o'clock. So we'll stay away from 8. That was very exciting. And I've always been around people that communicate. And I think exciting winning a Tony with my daughter with me.
Yes.
Having to say Porgy and Bess, and I was on my way to the bathroom because I sat there. I never sit at the Tonys. I've been doing. I never have to sit. I'm always sitting in the press room. That was exciting.
And Porgy and Bess was one of the most famous Broadway musicals.
Every day is exciting. I don't know. I live in the present, so I can't. I'm excited about my documentary. I'm excited about my Blacks for Furs movement. I'm excited about my web series. I'm excited about my daughter doing stuff. I'm just excited. I'm excited about you have a show and I can put people on.
Yes.
Get me a little something.
All the people that you can put on, I will absolutely. No discussion about it. Tell me about a moment that gave you problems and...
it's so funny you mention that. They have this Bob Fosse.
Yes.
Okay.
Now the show.
I was with Bob Fosse when he died. I was there that day.
Oh my God.
And so I was with him on the show, the national tour of Chicago, and then I came back and did the national tour of Sweet Charity, and we were really close. We were close because we cursed each other out. That's it. That was my closest. And it was the day of, because Bob was the kind of person, he would work the dancers until...
They dropped.
Till they dropped. And that's okay in Broadway, but in the road, you were only there a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And then he didn't want any the critics to come, the local critics, till the next day, and we'd always sneak in one. So this particular day, the same day he died, my friend Alma Viator, if you're out there, I want to see you. National Theater was a National Theater, and we were like talking, this is crazy, we can't do this, and we said, well, at least he won't. When he died, we won't have to be bothered with him. This was in the afternoon.
Oh wow.
So that was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So the show, when I went backstage, you know, he was like, I said, why don't you go and make some Michael Peters videos or something? And so I went over to have the opening night party. At, you know, we were trying to do that. And then they called me, because no cell phone, so they called me at Ebbets Grill and said, you got to come back here and meet with me. I said, oh, shoot. He's found out that Washington Post critic has come. So I'm strolling back like, you know, like Gone with the Wind.
Yeah.
The lady about birthing the babies. I'm like strolling back. And when I got there, he had dropped dead.
Oh, my God.
And so meanwhile, my partner, Alma, because I said, Alma, I'll go back and find out what's wrong.
Yeah.
And I called on the phone. I said, guess what? Bob Fosse's dead. But I couldn't stop laughing because we were just saying.
You were just talking about that.
And she said, no. I said, no. So my thing was, I said to him, wherever he was, even in death, you had to cause me trouble. And you can't have a Broadway legend die in Washington, D.C. Thank God we were out at all the outlets. And Brian Gumbel was on the Today Show that. So I had Cy Coleman, who was his partner at the opening night party, announced that he was dead. So
wow.
Yeah. So that was one death, and then I had Vince Gardenia die on me. I was on the road. Vince Gardenia, he was moonstruck. So yeah,
yes,
it's been exciting. A lot of things are exciting, but
you are something else. I love you. I love you. Yes, and it's all these obstacles so that can give you a different way of looking at things.
Well, when you're dealing with people, I mean, I've always spoke my truth. And I've never like said, what am I going to do? I just do it, you know, because nothing happens if you don't do anything.
No.
You know, I never have the question before the answer. I never have the solution before the problem, because you may have a solution and not have a problem, and then you're stuck. I don't get that.
Absolutely.
And I don't get me wrong. I get fearful, but I'm never afraid. You know, so.
And. You said before that you are always the first in a lot of things. You are also the first one to have a portrait, the first black woman to have a portrait at Sardis, right?
I'm the first press agent at all, black or white, women or male. Well, I've been coming to Sardis since '68, and I knew the old man and the young man that owns it now. I knew him since he was 21. And Sardis is a place of family.
Yes.
You know, you don't get a portrait just because, you know, you're in a play or
in
something. They have to know you. They have to know you. And it's funny because I was working on August Osage County with Tracy Letts. I love Tracy Letts. And I said, when I'm 65, I want a caricature. And so I was trying to get a caricature for Amy Morton. And they said, oh, that's fine, but we wanted it, yeah. So that's good. And it was good because I just celebrated my 75th birthday party, and I was presented with another portrait, which my daughter did. So
I remember I was there. It was a beautiful, beautiful portrait. How difficult has it been for an African American woman to become so well known and so appreciated in Broadway, the great white way?
Well, I never, I don't. There's only one great way for me, and that's green, because Broadway has black people in it, and I never look for validation. You know what I mean? I never look for validation.
You just went.
I just go, and I don't. That would stifle me because I know everybody's not thinking about me. You know, we think about people not doing the work, and I'm sure, I don't know, but if I'm sure that people who don't like me, and I don't think it could be because I'm African American, because it could be because I have a big mouth and tell you what I think. It could be that, but I don't go into anything thinking that. You know, as a matter of fact,
I understand exactly what you're talking about.
Being African American, because I can play on the guilt of the white people. You know, white people don't think you lie or you manipulate. So it has really helped me in my career.
In your career, that's fantastic.
Yes.
Fantastic. Before you were in theater, you also had at the same time, you also had a career in the music business.
Well, I started
a very
in theater,
interesting career.
And then I was in theater because I started in theater first, And then I started working with a lady named Vicki Lucas, and she was handling Gladys Knight and Benny King, and then LaBelle came there. And then I was handling them, and then they went to CBS Records. And I was on the beach, and they called me back because they were performing at the Met, and they had this big company behind them, and nobody invited any like Newsweek, because it was
Oh
a
my
big
God,
deal,
yeah.
rock group in the Met,
Yeah.
African American LaBelle. And so I was standing in the lobby of Lincoln Center, I'll never forget. And this was the time they had ousted Clive Davis, and there was a man, I think it was, I forgot his name, and he was there, and he said, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "I can't believe a big company like Columbia Records don't even know how to fight press." And Erwin Siegelstein, and he ended up hiring me. I didn't want to go to a record company at all, and that's how I ended up there. Hated it.
You didn't like
I didn't
it.
like it at all because they were not nice people. They were nice to me, but they were like, they haven't been anything. You know, everybody wants to be the talent. You know, so
Yes.
I wasn't used to that. I was used to, if I was a PR person, I stayed in the back. I never took pictures with anybody. And music is a different
It's
game.
different.
Yeah, for me. There's decent people in music, everybody, but for me at that time.
Well, and it's become even more difficult in the music business, I
But it was
imagine
great
now.
that at that time, it was Columbia Records, Epic Records. You know, I signed. Jackson was signed to the label when I was there, and I took Michael to one of his first Broadway shows. You know, Isley Brothers.
You took Michael to one of his first,
Annie.
excuse me,
Yeah,
this lady took Michael Jackson
it was Annie.
to see one of his first
Yeah.
Broadway shows.
Yeah.
Not everybody can say that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, yeah.
How was Michael?
Michael is amazing. They're amazing young man. Smart, amazing.
It must have been,
See, I don't see people as I don't see people. Somebody asked me the other day, "What is the biggest fan you've met?" I'm like, I don't think about them as
No.
that. I've never thought them. You know, I like soap opera people. You know, but I don't think of people as fans. Because I think of them as pieces of like file. Their work. You know, I mean, I have a lot of friends, but I don't, because they're not my friends. You know, we work together, and you know we get along. They move on, I move on. We'll come back together. You know, so I have enough friends and enough people that I can
In
call
your
my own.
private
and I don't
life.
need them to you know. Yeah. If I'm on the road, I'll see them at the theater or something, but I don't hang out with them. I learned that from a young, old Jewish press agent. Stay out of backstage, and don't go backstage, and don't become their friend, because they're not your friends. Because if you become their friend, then they want something. And it goes. There are no free lunches. They may pick up the tab, but there are no free lunches, and that's my motto.
okay, that's
Yeah.
a model. That's a model. One last thing, because we are nearly towards the end, but there is something very important that I want to talk to you about, and that's your documentary that is being
Oh God,
shot.
I know. I don't even have time. It's been 2 years, almost 2 years. I mean, because every day of my life is different. I mean, like here, I mean, I can't. Like on Wednesday, I'm gonna be at the hearing for Blacks for Furs, because I love furs, and so I started complaining about blacks for not complaining. Started a movement. I didn't know it was going to movement. That was the last weekend. Now people over like, I'm going to start a movement. This is movement. It's more than my selfish things about furs. It's a movement, and who knows? Because everything I go to with truth and I action. So that's happening. My daughter's going to do a web series on me and Mommy and Me. And I really did not want to do a documentary, but it was either a book or a documentary. In the book, I'm taken to the grave. So there's no book. Who's going to promote it? Nobody cares about a book.
Plus, you know, you are in this business. That's
I
you
mean,
want to have a
hopefully
documentary
when
about.
the documentary comes, if I'm still around, maybe I'll have some younger people in it. I can say, oh, I remember. Maybe Condola Rashad, Phyllis Rashad.
Oh yeah,
you know,
she's wonderful.
You know, so
Yes.
young people. Yeah. You know, the world is a different place. I live in the now.
But a documentary about you and your life is very important because you lived a generation, and your experience you have had as an African American woman, very few African American have had. So it's important that you give it.
Well, I think it's
back.
important that you can do it all. You know, my daughter was with me every time. She never stayed with her mom.
Now I
can be
understand why
mom.
she is who she is.
Yeah. Whenever I get an award, I thank the stagehands and the costume people because they raised her. I mean, you know, she's
Yes.
always there. But I want people to know that you can be who you want to be and not who your parents want you to be, not who you think you should be, but you're the only one that can deal with that. And, you know, and everybody can't be everything. Like, I can't be a press agent or press secretary for or governor or president. I mean, know my limitations, but never limit myself. First of all, I don't have that many suits, and they won't let me wear these shoes to work. So that's, you know, but I just, you know, but people can do it. Fear and keeps a lot of people from doing things. And also, when people tell you, when you say you want to do something, and the person who's telling you, well, I don't know. I mean, it's like somebody says, you know, Maria, you need to lose weight, and they're 500 pounds. That is not a good person to listen to.
No.
Or people say, oh, you can't go to New York and do this because, and they're living in South Carolina and never been to Georgia. You have to look for the source.
Yes, absolutely. See who is saying what.
And
Where
what
it comes
experiences
from.
they have.
Yeah,
So I can
exactly.
tell people something because
You got experience.
And yeah, and I'm learning now the technology. I just learned to cut and paste. I learned I can be on the phone and then text you at the same time. See, it's a miracle.
It is a
These
miracle.
young people know that.
Yep.
So you can always learn something and ask for help and say, I don't know, and no. No, I don't know. No, I don't want to keep your dog. No, I don't know where that is. No, I don't have no money. No, I'm not doing that. That's it.
Yes.
Because the people always find somebody else, because that's human nature.
You are fantastic.
Well, I'm just me.
Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you, Irene Gandy, for
you.
giving us your time. And thank you for seeing us. Harlem Portraits. See you next time.